Gasly wins the Italian Grand Prix!
Now this video is really quite overdue. I wanted to make this video on Monday as soon as I could once the Grand Prix was over on the Sunday, but obviously the bad timing with Season 3 of my Team Career Mode, that took priority. But here we are finally for your F1 comments for the 2020 Italian Grand Prix where Pierre Gasly won the race. I'm still speechless. I'm still reliving that Sunday because it was an absolute madness. And my reactions, well, they were captured on Backseat Driver on the Veloce channel. So if you're wondering how I reacted, yes, there may be the jokes and the memes on this channel that me and Gasly's AI car in the F1 game have butt heads ever since we had that incident in My Driver Season 4. And ever since then, it's a running kind of gag, a little reference that I have in commentaries. But off, away from videos, in real life, I genuinely do actually like Gasly as a driver. I want to see him do well, and after all he's been through, it could not have gone to a more deserving person there on that Sunday. It was a hectic race. There's a few people that could have maybe won that Grand Prix, but the fact that Gasly won it at Italy for AlphaTauri so many years after Vettel won at the very same place in Toro Rosso, i.e. AlphaTauri now. There's so many things that just make that win so just awesome, just so needed for Formula 1, just such a good feel story. So now, as usual in this series, we're going to delve into the comments below, the official highlights of this race, and check out the top, the best, and the funniest comments around. I'm sure a lot of them will be probably not as comical as maybe the last few with Ferrari. I mean, Ferrari was a bit of a joke again this race, but I think most of it, I can probably already guess, is going to be about one Pierre Gasly. If you're wondering what my live reactions were to him winning, this is a little clip and snippet from the Veloce Backseat Driver series on that channel.
Yes! Yes! Gasly! Come on! Yes!
Yeah, we only went a little bit, just a little bit excited over that win. That win literally cured my hangover. We started watching that race. I was severely hungover. I was dying inside, and by the end of that race, I was ready to go. I could have ran like a whole. I couldn't have ran a whole marathon, but I could have done stuff with my day then because it really just chirped you up. But we start off then with a rather solid comment. Red Bull Gasly just wasn't doing for us. Gasly and AlphaTauri, hold my croissant. I gotta say, on the note of French pastries, the French commentary for his victory was also insane. Like, Crofty does a good job at hyping, but in the native language of the person, the nationality that's winning, unbelievable. Because obviously the last French winner was like, what was it, 1996 with Olivier Panis? So it was many years ago. I think Gasly was literally born like in that year. Basically, he's 24 years old, and it's been 24 years, I think, since the last French winner. So it's something that maybe he didn't even realize, how historically significant that is for French drivers, that even Grosjean after the race, was, kind of basically celebrating in the cockpit for his fellow compatriot. I think this was the ultimate top comment of the video, 5.1k likes, when you realize AlphaTauri is now the best Italian team in Formula 1. And now we're back to the comedy show because, well, Ferrari, they were an absolute comedy act. Brake failure for Vettel, massive snap for Leclerc. Thank God he was okay, because that was a massive high-speed crash, but in the end of it, it was a very odd and kind of almost inexcusable place for the Ferrari to snap out, basically, because it's such a quick corner. Usually, the car's planted, you're trying to get onto the exit, and the fact the car snapped like that was just crazy. Double DNF at their home race, and next time, it's their 1000th Grand Prix at Mugello. They're going to have apparently a special livery for it, which just means it's going to go horrendously, isn't it? Because nothing, obviously this was a fairy tale race, but usually in milestones, most milestones in Formula 1 don't go well for people. It's their special, something for this race. A lot of the time doesn't go well, especially for teams when they try retro things. Mercedes, case in point, never goes well. So Ferrari, I don't know, you might want to rethink that a little bit, but to be fair, nothing's really going to change how bad that car is anyway, just without any livery change going to Mugello. The next highest was then a moment of silence for everyone who missed this race. If you missed this and turned it on like at the podium, you're like, what on earth is going on? You'd be blinking twice like, am I watching an F1 game career mode video where Gasly somehow won it, Sainz in second, Stroll in third? But no, mate, pinch yourself. It's real life. Before the race started, I think the general consensus was it was probably going to be a bore fest. The Italian Grand Prix, most of the time, it's really not an interesting Grand Prix. Yes, you can slipstream, but as of late in the modern era of Formula 1, the cars are so quick, there's so much dirty air, it's something very hard to pass, especially now going into this one. You know, Mercedes had that, we had the whole F1 engine directive, and Mercedes were adamant they would even get faster in the race because they would be at a new higher level for the entire race weekend, essentially. Worked out in the end, because actually, during the Grand Prix, when Hamilton was making his way back past, he actually couldn't go as pouncing as he actually couldn't pounce for the overtakes as hard as he wanted to, because he couldn't actually turn up the engine because it was at that, you know, level playing field kind of, you know, engine mode he had to go for the entire time. So it did kind of change the performance in that kind of way, but going into it, thought it was going to be a boring one. I made the mistake of, during the filming of Backseat Driver, saying that if it was anything like the last question mark challenge video I did, which was with Pierre Gasly, by the way, kind of got that, not obviously spot on, but a little bit of wizardry there of getting Gasly on the podium. He saw that and just did 2 better and got first place, but I got him on the podium. But we had a very crazy race in that last question mark challenge, and I said that if we had anything near to it, I would eat my own shoe. And, well, we got exactly that, didn't we? Honestly, this is probably not a great idea. I mean, it's a stupid idea. You can't eat your own shoe, but we've got to attempt it because I said it, didn't I? I don't know. Maybe a shoe is going to be a decent source of protein for me tonight. So, that was stupid. If I start coughing later in this video, that's why. That was not edible. We've been pretty serious so far with the comments, but now we're right back to the comedy. Like I said, on cue, you can kind of guess what team this is for, but we've got Sebastian, I have no brakes, Ferrari, understood, stop the car, and it just doesn't make any sense. How is he meant to... There is a reason, at the time, he got just burst through the barriers because he didn't have any attempt at going around because he had no brakes. What are you meant to do with it? They stop the car, like just let it just roll through. He had to literally roll it to a stop. But it would be so Ferrari just be like, yeah, okay, cool, park it up somewhere, you know, turn the engine. I can't actually physically stop the car. On the same lines, it'd be very Ferrari to bodge job the car in a bid to make it quicker around Monza. You know, maybe they thought it really was going to be an oval, the temple at speed, no corners. Ferrari went not fast enough. Ferrari, okay, we removed the brakes. That takes me back to a nice low drag Ferrari package I saw on my subreddit last week for a video. I mean, they should have just installed that. I think they should for Mugello, to be fair. It's the only way they're going to get some speed to maybe get some points to their 1000th Grand Prix. As I said at the start, Gasly's win really is the ultimate story, or one of the most ultimate story arcs in Formula 1 history, in my opinion. And this comment's along those lines. Red Bull kicks Gasly out, brings Albon in. Gasly gets first podium before Albon. Gasly wins a race before Albon. Red Bull, oh my god. But it is just sensational. He comes into F1 halfway through a previous season, or a third of the way left in 2017. Then has his first full year in Toro Rosso. Does a pretty damn decent job. Gets promoted to Red Bull. Was it too early? Was it not? I don't know. That's debatable. But the car itself, I still maintain and am adamant that the Red Bull car is a combination of two geared to Verstappen's driving style, and also the car itself is just such a diva that Verstappen is just that good that he can actually drag that diva of a car up to where he's doing it. I genuinely think that Gasly is showing that he is genuinely really, really good, and this season definitely one of the best performances outside of those top teams. Just, you know, that's obviously a kind of a given. They default to being, you know, nominated as best drivers because they're the ones winning the races and getting the multiple podiums. But if you talk about relative to where the car is, how they're doing versus their teammate, just the situations, Gasly's had so many banging races, and there's a reason why his mate Leclerc has also said that he's been the best driver so far this season, in his opinion. But yeah, he has a torrid time at Red Bull, gets kicked out halfway through for the person who's debuting in Formula 1 that year in Toro Rosso. He goes back to Toro Rosso, settles back down, and then just kills it at AlphaTauri, and he's had a banging season and tops it off now with a race victory. I hope one of many in the future. It depends. You know, it's going to be an interesting one. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But to me, Gasly now, you know, after this win and having hopefully seeing out a solid season, he's got to surely be looking outside the Red Bull program. Like, for me, he will just never gel well with the main Red Bull team. I want him to try and get a drive where he can genuinely be a team leader in a project where the end of the line is not just staying in AlphaTauri or being promoted to Red Bull. The project is taking that team specifically to better heights, because AlphaTauri, let's be real, will never get higher than, you know, like maybe once in a blue moon in a season, they'll get P4 in the championship. Let's just say that. But they'll never go any higher. They are the junior team for Red Bull. Red Bull would never allow them to actually consistently go out there and beat them. But honestly, in drivers' careers, something like this is the kind of eureka moment where it all spirals out of they can actually start to carve their own path. Sainz had it a little bit in a kind of breakout time when he went from Toro Rosso to Renault and showed maybe outside that program he's a really good talent, and then obviously he's broken into McLaren and then Ferrari and whatnot. I think Gasly can do the same in terms of just finishing out this strong season, and hopefully his agent and him can have a good look around. It's a little bit frustrating that him and Ocon are like basically sworn enemies, because Renault, the French team, I mean, it could be amazing. That could be an awesome connection, but Ocon just needs to get out of the team for that to actually happen. But Gasly's win wasn't just the entire crazy part of that race, because we had so many awesome finishing positions. We had obviously Sainz in second place, his highest finishing to date. Stroll, his second podium in third place. Obviously, Racing Point, no, I don't know. He had a very bad restart. Could he have gone one better? Who knows, but he was still ecstatic with third place. At one point, we saw the Alfa Romeos, Raikkonen just chilling in the top 4 as well. Also, Latifi was in the top 10 at some point, near to the top 10, and that was almost being a bit too spooky at my last question mark challenge. But along the lines of that, the next comment, F1 fans, we don't want Mercedes and Verstappen on the podium every time. Monza, say no more. No Mercedes, no Red Bull, no Ferrari, new winners, fighting for P1 until the last lap. How long has it been? This was a race where, we've had 2 really dull ones just before this, and it's classic F1. They just have sometimes these boring races, and then just when you're like, I've just had enough of this, I might just skip this one, it just pulls you right back in with a crazy race like this. It's just so F1 to do this, and it's why these crazy races also are even better, because you've gone through a few meh ones, maybe some okay good ones that was a little bit of a battle, and then there's an absolute banger like this, and it makes you appreciate that. I say that a lot also for the F1 games every time we're doing like career mode and whatnot. During the the cycle of playing the game, there will be some dull races, because but it makes you appreciate the crazier ones you then play later on. Unpopular opinion, Kevin Magnussen should win the driver of the day. I think that's actually a stat, that little radio message where he just went, oh, something broke. That's the reaction to the entire race. Oh, okay, that was a bit of a madness seeing the race results. But yeah, no, his car of the day, okay? Because it wasn't really him that did it. The car broke. The car deserves all the plaudits. Haas were the savior for Formula 1 that we didn't know we needed for that race weekend. This next one... This next one, this is actually probably one of the best comments I think of the entire time, of the entire thing. Pit lane closed. Bono, get in there, Lewis. That is astounding. That is literally it. Get in there. For everyone's sake, Bono's just told Lewis, get in there. The pit lane's closed. Look, you got to do one for the team. Get in there. Get yourself a penalty. Go to the back. Allow everyone to have a bit of a mazza. And we're going to end off with this rather beautiful comment. What makes Gasly's win all the more emotional was that Anton Hubert told him to prove them wrong when Gasly got unceremoniously demoted from Red Bull. Now a year on from Antoine's death, Gasly's done exactly that. No wonder he broke down on the podium. Like I said, that's also a part of the story. The fact that, he got demoted, and then the very next race weekend, he tragically lost one of his childhood friends. They lived together in the same, place. They went to school, did classes, came up the junior categories. So the fact that that plays into this, after, again, a year on, the next race a year on from Spa to do it at Monza then, just everything, it honestly is right up there. For me personally, is one of the best story arcs and stories in F1 history. You've got a lot of really famous stories that occurred way before my time, but this is, I feel like we're going to appreciate it maybe in a lot of years' time for all of us that are maybe growing up with it. We're kind of young adults that are watching this. This is our story. Like, maybe our parents and whatnot, and the old generation, they have, their stories about Lauda and whatnot, and, all that stuff. This is our story. This is the generational story of, like, look at this Hollywood scenario of, like I said before, the whole moving about it's everyone like that. Everyone liked Gasly winning. That was just amazing. So that's your F1 comments for this race weekend. To be fair, I'm going to be honest, it turned more into my comments on the race because I have so much to say, and I'm sure a lot of you guys would be curious as to what I thought of it just because of that whole joke thing. But as you can tell, genuinely, away from the kind of, little joke and reference I have in F1 game videos, I genuinely really like Gasly. I don't support any one driver as much as I used to Jenson Button. Like, I won't ever support someone as dedicated as I did Jenson, but honestly, the last time I got excited at a driver winning a race since Jenson's last win was on Sunday, was Gasly. I've never, screamed for joy as much at a race win at that, and I think it was so deserved in terms of that reaction. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you are new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been aarava. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.